Hi everyone, this is your friend Roshni back again with a new video. First of all, I would like to thank you all so much for so many likes and views to my previous video, because of which I am encouraged to make a new video today. So today's topic is questions asked in an interview for F2 visa. If you are new to the video, let me first clear you what is a F2 visa. So anybody, I hope you are aware of it, and if you are not, I am there to help you. So F2 visa is a visa usually issued to a spouse or a child of a person having a F1 visa. So what is a F1 visa first? F1 visa is a visa issued to a person who is in school, college, or university, or doing a research or trying for a graduation in US. They usually get a F1 visa, and their spouse and children gets a F2 visa. So F2 visa, you can also say, is a dependent visa of F1 visa. I think it is clear now. So let's move to the topic, and today's topic is questions asked during F2 visa interview. The interviewer usually asks questions from several sections. There are several sections like general question section, marriage section question, and your spouse and their work related question, you and your work related question, your parents and parents in laws related question, and the last one is a miscellaneous section. In the general question section, they ask you about what is your name, what is your spouse name, what visa are you applying for, where are you going, what are your traveling plans, what are your traveling arrangements, when do you need to go, can I see your spouse passport, visa, or I-20. So these are the questions usually they ask in general question section. The other section is a marriage section, in which they are going to ask you questions related to your marriage, like when did you get married, was it a love marriage or arranged marriage, did you know your spouse before your marriage, how long you people are married, and if you are applying alone, they can also ask you that why didn't you apply with your spouse. They can also ask your marriage album. They can ask you, can I have your marriage invitation card. So these are the questions asked in the marriage section. The other section is related to your spouse and their work and studies. So they are going to ask you, if your spouse is doing a research, that what is the topic of the research, and on what stage is he or she, in which university is he or she studying or doing a research. So if your spouse is in a university doing a graduation, they can also ask you, when are they going to be graduated, when is your spouse going to be graduated. And if he or she is going to be graduated very soon, they can also ask you that why do you want to go there with your spouse, or why do you want to visit your spouse if he or she is going to graduate very soon, and he or she is going to come back to the home country very soon. So you have to be very careful while answering these questions. The other question he the interviewer can ask you is like, in which company, in which post, how long is your spouse working, in which place in the US, and if he or she is on OPT, when is the OPT going to expire, and if it is going to expire very soon, again they are going to ask you that why do you want to visit him or her if the OPT is going to expire very soon. And they can also ask you the bank statements or the paychecks of your spouse, so that they can check the US income source, of your spouse. And so they can also be, like, verified about your good status in US, about your expenses, who is going to bear your expenses in US when you visit there. So these are certain questions they are going to ask you about your spouse and their study and work. Be careful that you should know each and everything about your spouse in US as well as in home country. They can also ask you about, in which university or college was your husband there in the home country, if he or she was working in which company, in which post he or she was working in the home country as well. Not only US, but they can also ask you things about your home country in which your spouse was involved. Okay. So the other section can be related to you. They can ask you questions that if you have graduated or not, do you used to work or not, if you have already quit, why did you do so, and what are your plans, further. Are you going to work in US? Are you going to study in US? How are you going to spend your time in US? Who is going to bear your expenses in US? And for how long are you going to stay in US? Okay. The other section can be questions related to your parents and your parents in laws. They can ask you about what does your parents in law do, and they can also ask about your brother and sister if they are in US, in which status they are, do they have green card or not, if your parents in law are having, a business and your spouse is the only son or the daughter, how are they going to manage their business. They can also ask you about when are they, anybody from your family they are in US, like brother or sister, or even your parents in law, if they are there, when are they planning to come back to the home country. And even you and your spouse, when are you people planning to come back to sorry, to your home country. And if you people have, like, plans to visit your home country, do you also have plan to visit US again. They can ask you certain questions, related to this topic. And they can also ask you about your parents, about what do they do, how do they live, what is their source of income. They can also ask you about your parents as well as your parents in laws, brothers in laws, about your brothers and cousins. They can ask you anything. Okay. Be prepared. In the miscellaneous question, they can ask you questions, the remaining questions, like if you have visited US previously, if you had any other visa, they can ask you remaining questions from the previous sections. They are free to ask you any question. They do not have any restriction, because they are there to check whether you are eligible for the F2 visa or not. And F2 visa is not a joke. It is it is a very, like, it is a interview, based on which you are issued a visa. It is a legal document that allows you to enter in US. So it is not going to be easy. Okay. So my tip for you, to get a F2 visa during your F2 visa interview is be confident and be informed. You need to know everything about your spouse, their status, their job, their education, their family, about everything. They can ask you anything from anywhere. since your spouse is in US, they have all the details of your spouse, they have every update. So do not lie, or do not ignore any question. Be careful while you are answering. And before you go to the visa interview, you have to know several things, like the source of US income. What is the source of income of your spouse or you? If he or she is not earning from here, where does he or she gets money? Will that money be able to afford your expenses also or not? The other thing you need to be very clear about is the immigration intent. They are going to check your immigration intent as well, if you are going to come back to your home country or not. The other thing they are going to ask you about is your plans to, you are going to do in while you are in US. And they are also going to ask about certain validation like OPT, like if your spouse is on OPT, when is it going to expire? And if it is going to expire very soon, why do you want to go there? Isn't it? Like, they are going to check from every sections, they are going to even cross questions you, cross cross check you. And they are also going to ask about H1B visa, if your spouse has applied or not. If they have already applied, they can also ask you, like, when you people are going to come back. If you have applied at that time, if he or she has not applied, you are supposed to answer them that we have not applied and we are not going to apply. But if you have your spouse have already applied, you are going to tell them the fact, and you are also going to assure them that you people are going to come back to your home country after a certain time. Okay, so these are the questions asked during asked during interview by an interviewer while you are applying for F2 visa. If there is any confusion in any question, you can comment me in the comment section. I am there to help you anytime, anywhere. I am usually free most of the time, so I can reply you immediately. As soon as I get the comment, feel free to ask me question. I will try my best to help you. And if you are going for your visa, be confident, be well informed, be prepared. Try to practice this question before you face the interviewer. Have a very smiling face. Do not try to ignore, or do not try to lie any question. Do not try to exaggerate. Be well uniformed, like, be prepared from every discipline, from the question, from the get up, from your posture. Give the interview in a very cool manner. All the best. I hope you get your visa very soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.